The grand cathedral echoed with the soft murmurs of guests, their whispers like the rustle of silk against stone. Sunlight streamed through the stained glass windows, casting a kaleidoscope of colors across the aisle, crimson reds bleeding into golden yellows, as if the heavens themselves were painting a scene of eternal promise. Emily Hart stood at the altar, her white gown a simple, second-hand treasure that hugged her slender frame with quiet grace. Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched a bouquet of wild flowers, their fresh scent mingling with the faint aroma of polished wood and incense. At 28, with her chestnut hair cascading in soft waves and her green eyes shimmering with hope, she looked every bit the bride, ready to embrace a new chapter. Beside her, her twin daughters, Lily and Rose, fidgeted in their matching pink dresses, their 5-year-old faces beaming with innocent excitement. "Mommy's getting married," Lily had whispered earlier, her voice a tiny bell of joy. But as the organ swelled into the bridal march's final notes, the groom, Mark, shifted uneasily in his tuxedo. His face, usually boyish and charming, was now pale, etched with a shadow of regret. The priest cleared his throat, his voice warm and expectant. "Do you, Mark Thompson, take Emily Hart to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, until death do you part?" The silence stretched like a taut wire, the air thick with anticipation. Guests leaned forward, smiles frozen on their lips. Emily's heart pounded in her chest, a rhythmic drum echoing the tick of the ancient clock at the back of the nave. Mark's eyes darted to the twins, then to Emily's hopeful gaze, and finally to the floor. I can't," he muttered, his voice cracking like thunder in the hushed space. Gasps rippled through the crowd, a wave of shock that chilled the warm light. "I'm sorry, Emily. I love you. But this, at the kids, the struggles, it's too much. I thought I could, but I can't." Emily's world shattered in that instant. The bouquet slipped from her fingers, petals scattering like broken dreams across the marble floor. Her knees buckled, but she caught herself on the altar's edge, the cool wood biting into her palms. Tears blurred her vision, hot and unrelenting, as humiliation burned through her veins. The twins' faces crumpled, Rose's lower lip quivering, Lily's eyes wide with confusion. "Daddy Mark," Lily whimpered, her small hand reaching out. Whispers turned to murmurs, then to outright chatter. The cathedral's sacred hush, desecrated by pitying stares and judgmental nods. Emily felt exposed, raw, like a wound laid bare under the colorful glow. How had it come to this? Years of scraping by as a waitress, raising her girls alone after their father abandoned them at birth, only to be left again at the altar, no less, just as the priest stammered an awkward attempt to regain control. A deep, commanding voice cut through the chaos from the back of the cathedral. "If he won't, then I will." Heads whipped around as a tall figure strode down the aisle, his presence commanding like a storm rolling in. Alexander Voss, the billionaire tech mogul whose name was synonymous with ruthless innovation and icy detachment, stopped at the altar. His dark suit was impeccably tailored, his steel-gray eyes piercing under a furrowed brow. At 40, with chiseled features and a jaw set in perpetual determination, he exuded power that silenced the room. The guests buzzed anew. Who was this man? And why was he here? Alexander had been invited as Mark's boss, a courtesy nod to the employee who'd worked tirelessly on his latest project. But now, his gaze locked on Emily's tear-streaked face, something unreadable flickering in his eyes. "Marry me instead," he said, his tone brooking no argument. as if sealing a business deal rather than a vow of love. Emily blinked through her tears, her breath catching in her throat. The cathedral seemed to spin, the colored lights dancing mockingly. Was this a dream? A cruel joke? The twins stared up at him, wide-eyed, while Mark slunk away, muttering apologies. Alexander extended a hand, his touch surprisingly gentle as he helped her stand. The priest, flustered but intrigued, glanced between them. Well, do you accept? He asked Emily. Her mind raced poverty's grip, the twins' future, this stranger's inexplicable offer. With a shaky nod, she whispered, yes. And just like that, in the midst of heartbreak, a new path unfurled, one paved with uncertainty and the faint whisper of fate. As vows were hastily exchanged, the air hummed with electric tension. Alexander's ring, a simple band he pulled from his pocket, perhaps a relic from his own past, slid onto her finger, cool against her skin. The kiss was brief, formal, his lips brushing hers like a contract signed. Cheers erupted, tentative at first, then enthusiastic, as if the drama had transformed into a fairy tale. But Emily felt the weight of eyes upon her, the scent of wilted flowers lingering as a reminder of betrayal. Outside, as they stepped into the crisp afternoon air, paparazzi flashes exploded like fireworks. News of the billionaire's impromptu wedding would spread like wildfire. Alexander's limousine waited, its sleek black form a stark contrast to her beat-up sedan parked nearby. Get in, he said curtly, opening the door for her and the twins. Lily and Rose climbed in, their dresses rumpling against the leather seats. Giggling at the novelty, Emily hesitated, the wind tousling her veil. Why, she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Alexander's expression remained impassive, but a flicker of pain crossed his features, gone in an instant. Because no one deserves to be left like that, he replied, his voice low, carrying the echo of his own hidden sorrows. As the car pulled away, the cathedral faded in the rear view, its spires piercing the sky like unanswered questions. Emily hugged her girls close, their warmth an anchor in the storm. Little did she know, this union born of rejection would unravel secrets, forge bonds, and heal wounds long buried. The drive to Alexander's mansion was silent, save for the twins' occasional whispers. The cityscape blurred past towering skyscrapers, giving way to manicured suburbs, the air growing fresher with hints of pine and ocean. Emily's mind replayed the altar scene, Mark's betrayal stinging like salt in a fresh cut. Alexander's intervention, a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. Who was this man? Really? Headlines flashed in her memory. Alexander Voss, the reclusive genius behind Voss Tech, an empire built on AI and innovation, worth billions yet shrouded in mystery. Rumors of a tragic past, a wife lost too soon, but details were scarce, guarded like state secrets. Arriving at the gates of his estate, Emily gasped. The mansion loomed like a modern palace, glass walls reflecting the setting sun in fiery oranges, surrounded by lush gardens where fountains tinkled softly. Servants bustled out, their uniforms crisp, eyes widening at the sight of the bride and children. Welcome, Mrs. Voss, one said, bowing slightly. The title felt foreign, heavy on her tongue. Inside, the foyer was a symphony of marble and crystal, chandeliers casting diamond-like sparkles. The air smelled of lavender and polished oak, a far cry from her tiny apartment's musty scent of takeout and crayons. Alexander led them to a suite, his steps measured, voice detached. You'll stay here. The girls have adjoining rooms. Lily and Rose explored with wide-eyed wonder, bouncing on the plush beds, their laughter echoing off high ceilings. Emily watched, a mix of gratitude and wariness churning inside. This is temporary, right? She asked. Facing him, he paused, his gray eyes meeting hers, stormy, unreadable. For now, we'll discuss terms tomorrow. As he left, the door clicking shut, Emily sank onto the bed, the silk sheets cool against her skin. Tears came anew, silent and cathartic, rejected, rescued, reborn all in one day. The night deepened, stars twinkling through floor to ceiling windows, promising unknowns. But sleep evaded her, the mansion's quiet hum, a stark contrast to her life's chaos. Memories flooded waitressing double shifts at the diner, feet aching from worn shoes, scraping pennies for the twins' school supplies. Mark had promised escape, a family unit. Now, here she was, married to a stranger whose wealth could eclipse nations. What did he want Charity a trophy, or something deeper, hidden in his miserable demeanor? The next morning, sunlight filtered through sheer curtains, birdsong, a gentle wake-up call. Emily dressed in her simple jeans and blouse, the wedding gown folded away like a dream. The twins bounded in, hungry and excited. "Mommy, there's a pool," Rose exclaimed. Downstairs, breakfast awaited in a sunlit dining room, fresh fruits, pastries, the aroma of coffee, rich and inviting. Alexander sat at the head of the long table, newspaper in hand, his face a mask of concentration. "Good morning," he said without looking up. Emily settled the girls, their chatter filling the space. "Thank you for everything," she ventured. He folded the paper, eyes assessing. It was impulsive, but necessary. "I need a wife for business reasons. Image, stability, you'll play the part. And in return, your daughters will want for nothing." His words were clinical, devoid of warmth, yet Emily sensed a crack in his armor, a loneliness echoing her own. "And love?" she asked softly. He stiffened, jaw tightening. "Love is a luxury I can't afford." The conversation hung heavy, the clink of silverware punctuating the tension. As days blended, Emily navigated this new world. She insisted on helping around the house, her waitress instincts kicking in, clearing tables, playing with the girls in the vast gardens where roses bloomed in riotous colors. Alexander worked long hours, his study a fortress of screens and calls, his voice booming in negotiations. Yet glimpses of misery surfaced late nights, staring at a photo on his desk. A woman with kind eyes, his late wife. Perhaps Emily's heart ached for him, her kindness drawing her closer despite warnings. One evening, as thunder rumbled outside, rain pattering against windows like tears, Alexander found her reading to the twins. Their giggles softened his edges. "They're good kids," he said gruffly. Emily smiled. "They are. They've been through a lot." He nodded, a rare vulnerability flashing. "So have I." That night, as lightning illuminated the room, Emily wondered if this rejection was fate's redirection. Emily's new life in Alexander's world unfolded like a tapestry woven from threads of opulence and isolation. The mansion, perched on a cliff overlooking the ocean, was a marvel of architecture, sleek lines of glass and steel, blending with the natural stone. As if man and nature had struck a truce, mornings brought the salty tang of sea breeze through open windows, mingling with the earthy scent of dew-kissed lawns. The garden sprawled endlessly, hedges trimmed to perfection, fountains gurgling melodies that soothed the soul. Inside, rooms boasted high ceilings and art pieces worth fortunes, abstract paintings splashing color on white walls, sculptures catching light in ethereal dances. The kitchen, a chef's dream, hummed with the aroma of gourmet meals prepared by staff. Yet Emily often snuck in to make pancakes for the twins, the sizzle of batter a comforting reminder of normalcy. Alexander Voss was the enigma at the heart of it all, cold as the marble floors underfoot. He moved through life with calculated precision. His days started at dawn in a home gym, the rhythmic thud of weights echoing his inner turmoil. At 6'3", with broad shoulders and a presence that commanded rooms, he exuded power, but his gray eyes held storms, miserable depths, hinting at losses unspoken. Widowed 5 years ago, his wife Elena had died in a car accident, leaving him shattered, his empire a hollow victory. He buried grief in work. Vostek's innovations revolutionizing AI. But at night, insomnia gripped him, the mansion's silence amplifying regrets. Success is solitude, he'd once told a reporter, his voice clipped, masking pain. Contrastingly, Emily embodied warmth amid struggle, kind-hearted to a fault. She navigated poverty's harsh edges with quiet resilience. Her days as a waitress at Joe's diner involved greasy aprons and aching feet, tips barely covering rent for their cramped apartment, a two-bedroom walk-up with peeling wallpaper, and the constant drip of a leaky faucet. The air there smelled of instant noodles and laundry detergent, children's laughter piercing the din of traffic outside. Single mother to Lily and Rose since their birth, abandoned by their biological father, who vanished upon learning of the pregnancy. Emily had forged ahead, her hands, calloused from shifts, cradled her girls with tenderness. Now, in Alexander's domain, she felt like an intruder, her simple clothes clashing with luxury. The twins, Lily and Rose, were bursts of joy in this dichotomy, identical with curly chestnut hair and emerald eyes mirroring their mothers. They were 5-year-old whirlwinds. Lily, the bolder one, climbed trees in the garden, her laughter like wind chimes, while Rose, shyer, drew pictures of families under sunny skies. They adapted quickly. The mansion's pool splashing with their giggles, the library's books fueling imaginations. Yet, they sensed tensions, Lily asking, "Why is Mr. Alex always sad?" In her innocent lilt, interactions deepened the contrast. One afternoon, as sunlight dappled the patio, Emily served lemonade to Alexander during a rare break. "You don't have to do that," he said, his tone gruff, sipping the tart drink. "I'm used to working," she replied, smiling softly, the breeze tousling her hair. He watched her with the twins, building sandcastles on the private beach below, waves crashing rhythmically. Their poverty-stricken past flashed in small ways, Emily mending clothes by hand, the girls treasuring a worn teddy bear over fancy toys. Alexander's misery surfaced in quiet moments. Late one evening, Emily found him in his study, the room dim with lamplight casting long shadows, paper strewn, a half-empty Scotch glass in hand. He stared at Elena's photo. "She was everything," he murmured, unaware of her presence. Emily hesitated, then entered, the carpet muffling her steps. "I'm sorry," she whispered. He looked up. Vulnerability raw. "Don't be. Life takes what it wants." Their conversation flowed, her kindness chipping at his walls, stories of her struggles, his of boardroom battles. Wealth insulated him, but poverty had taught her empathy. The settings amplified divides. Emily's old apartment, visited once to collect belongings, felt worlds away, narrow stairs creaking, neighbors' voices through thin walls, packing boxes. She hugged the twins, tears mixing with dust motes dancing in sunlight. "This is our new home now," she said, voice steady. Back at the mansion, grandeur overwhelmed the ballroom with crystal chandeliers tinkling like distant bells. The theater room, where movies played on a massive screen, popcorn's buttery scent filling the air. Yet, bridges formed. Alexander, in a rare gesture, hired tutors for the girls, their lessons in sunlit rooms filled with chalk dust and eager questions. He watched from afar, a ghost of a smile softening his features. Emily cooked family dinners, insisting on normalcy, the sizzle of vegetables, steam rising like hopes. "Join us," she'd say. And sometimes he did, the table alive with chatter. "Tell us about your day, Mr. Alex?" Rose piped up, her fork waving. He'd share snippets, his voice warming slightly. Poverty's scars lingered. Emily worried about dependency, her pride a quiet fire. "I can't just live off you," she told him one night. Stars glittering outside. He leaned back, cigar smoke curling lazily. "You're my wife now. It's expected." But his eyes betrayed conflict, miserable isolation, craving connection. The children bridged gaps. One stormy afternoon, thunder booming like drums. The twins hid under blankets in the living room, fire crackling warmly. Alexander joined, telling tales of his childhood adventures, his laughter rare but genuine. Emily watched, heart swelling, the cold billionaire thawing, the struggling mother finding security. Settings evolved with them. The ocean view terrace became a sanctuary, waves whispering secrets as they talked. Sensory details enriched the cool mist on skin, seagulls' cries piercing the air, the taste of salt on lips. Emily's kindness shone in small acts, leaving coffee for him, notes of encouragement. His power manifested in protection. When paparazzi hounded, he shielded them, his arm around her, a surprising comfort. As weeks passed, contrasts blurred. Alexander's misery lessened in their presence. Emily's struggles eased by wealth. The twins flourished, their energy infusing the mansion with life. Yet, undercurrents simmered, unspoken attractions, lingering doubts. In this dance of wealth and poverty, characters deepened, settings alive with possibility. Dialogue added authenticity. "Why did you really marry me?" Emily asked one dusk, sunset painting the sky in pinks. Alexander paused, wind ruffling his hair, to fix a wrong, and maybe to fill a void. Her hand brushed his, a spark igniting. The narrative wove on, characters and settings intertwining like vines on the mansion's walls. Tension simmered beneath the surface of their makeshift family, bubbling up in waves of hardship and misunderstanding. Emily's integration into Alexander's world was far from seamless. Her past as a struggling waitress clashed with the expectations of a billionaire's wife. Social events loomed like storm clouds galas, where diamonds glittered under chandeliers, champagne fizzing in crystal flutes, the air thick with perfume and ambition. At one such event, held in a opulent ballroom with orchestral music swelling, Emily felt out of place in her borrowed gown, the fabric whispering against her skin. Whispers followed her. The waitress who snagged Voss must be a gold digger. Her cheeks burned, the sting of injustice sharp. Alexander, ever the powerful figure, navigated the room with ease, his hand on her back a cold formality, but misunderstandings festered. "Smile more," he muttered during a toast, his voice low amid clinking glasses. Emily pulled away later. In the limousine's dim interior, leather creaking. "I'm not a prop. Alexander, I have feelings," he sighed. City light streaking past. "This is the world I live in. Adapt or it's over." His words cut deep, echoing her fears of being disposable. Hardships mounted at home. The twins, though adapting, missed their old life, simple park visits, replaced by structured playdates. Lily acted out, her tantrums echoing through the halls. "I want my old room," she'd cry, small fists clenched. Emily soothed her, the scent of lavender from bath time calming, but exhaustion weighed heavy. As a single mother, she'd managed alone. Now, dependency chafed. Alexander's coldness amplified. Injustices, he worked endlessly. Missing family dinners, the empty chair, a silent accusation. "You're never here," Emily confronted him one night, rain lashing windows like accusations. "The girls need a father figure." His response was clipped. "I'm providing. That's enough." Suspense built in subtle ways. Anonymous letters arrived, slipped under the mansion's door, threats hinting at Emily's unworthiness, postmarked from unknown sources. "She'll ruin you," one read, the paper crisp and menacing. Alexander dismissed them, but Emily's heart raced, shadows in the vast house seeming alive. Was it Mark? Jealous. Or rivals? In Alexander's business, tension heightened during a business trip. Alexander left for days, the mansion's creaks amplifying her isolation. Phone calls came late, his voice strained. Issues with a deal, Emily worried. Pacing moonlit floors, the ocean's roar, a ominous backdrop. Injustices deepened with staff dynamics. Some servants, loyal to Alexander's past, viewed Emily suspiciously, whispers in kitchens. Eyes averting, one maid, Clara, confronted her. "You're not Elena. You'll never be." The words stung, evoking Alexander's unspoken grief. Emily's kindness faltered under pressure. She volunteered at a shelter, the smell of soup and desperation familiar. But paparazzi twisted it. "Billionaire's wife slums it." Headlines blared, fueling misunderstandings. Alexander stormed in one evening, newspaper crumpling. "This embarrasses me." Thunder outside mirrored his anger. "I'm helping people like I used to be," she retorted, tears welling. The twins became pawns in conflicts. Rose fell ill, fever hot against Emily's hand. The doctor's house call revealing stress-induced weakness. "She needs stability," he said. Alexander blamed Emily. "Your uprooting did this." Hurt flared. "You're the one who's absent." Suspense peaked when Lily wandered off during a garden party, guests milling with the laughter. Emily's panic rose, heart pounding as she searched hedges, thorns pricking skin. "Lily," her voice echoed, wind carrying it away. Alexander joined, his face pale, calling security. Found hiding in a gazebo. Lily sobbed, "I miss Daddy Mark." The incident highlighted fractures, tension thick as fog, misunderstandings escalated in intimate moments. Alexander's misery manifested in withdrawal. Emily reached out, her touch on his arm electric. "Talk to me," she pleaded under starlit skies. Crickets chirping, he pulled away. "You don't understand loss." But she did. Abandonments scar deep. Their arguments carried suspense. Would he end the marriage? One night, after a heated exchange, he left abruptly, car tires screeching on gravel. Emily waited, hours ticking, fear coiling. hardships intertwined with external pressures. Vostek faced a scandal-leaked data, stocks plummeting. Alexander's stress mounted, his office a war room of ringing phones and urgent emails. Emily offered support, brewing coffee's aroma wafting, but he snapped, "Stay out of it." Injustice burned. She wanted partnership, not periphery. Brief suspense infused daily life. A mysterious caller harassed Emily. "Leave him or else." Her pulse quickened, hiding it from Alexander to avoid burden. When he discovered, fury ignited. "Why didn't you tell me?" Trust frayed, adding layers. Through it all, empathy flickered. Alexander glimpsed Emily's strength, helping with twins' bedtime stories, his voice softening. She saw his vulnerability, a man broken by loss, power a shield. Yet conflicts kept tension high, a powder keg awaiting spark. Dialogue sharpened edges. "I feel like I'm drowning in your world," Emily confessed, waves crashing below. Alexander's reply, "Then learn to swim," but his eyes held regret, misery evident. The main conflict wove a web of hardships, misunderstandings, and injustices. Suspense threading through, building toward inevitable twists. As conflicts simmered, secrets unraveled like threads pulled from a fragile seam, each twist reshaping their fragile bond with shocking revelations. The first unexpected turn came on a crisp autumn morning, leaves crunching underfoot in the garden, the air scented with wood smoke from distant fires. Emily received a package at the mansion's gate, anonymous, wrapped in plain brown paper. Inside, a faded photograph and a letter. The ink slightly smudged, as if from hurried hands. The photo showed a young woman, strikingly similar to Emily, holding a baby. The letter read, "Emily, I'm your mother. I gave you up for adoption to protect you. Your father was Alexander's business partner, ruined by him years ago." Her heart hammered, the paper trembling in her grasp. Hidden parents. She confronted Alexander that evening in his study, firelight flickering on bookshelves, casting dancing shadows. "You knew," she demanded, voice quivering. He looked up from his desk, face paling. "Not at first, but when I saw you at the altar." The resemblance to Elena's old friend. Twist deepened. Elena, his late wife, had been Emily's half-sister, connected through the abandoned mother. Alexander had indirectly caused the family's downfall in a ruthless takeover, guilt buried deep. "I stepped into a tone," he admitted, voice hoarse, Scotch glass clinking against wood. Betrayal stung his marriage. Proposal wasn't impulse, but calculated redemption. Emily stormed out, wind howling outside, leaves swirling like her thoughts. The second twist struck amid suspense, during a family outing to the city zoo. Animals' calls filling the air, the twins laughing at monkeys' antics. A man approached Mark, the jilted groom, disheveled, eyes wild. "Emily, I was paid to leave you," he confessed, glancing nervously, "by Alexander's rival, to humiliate him through me." Shocking betrayal, the rejection orchestrated, not heartfelt. Paparazzi captured the scene, flashes blinding, crowds murmuring. Back home, Alexander raged, pacing the terrace, ocean waves crashing furiously. "I suspected sabotage," he said, but Emily's trust shattered further. "You used me as bait." Suspense built. Who was the rival? Investigations revealed it was Victor Kane, a former partner ousted by Alexander. Seeking revenge. Acts of sacrifice emerged in the third twist. Emily, Digging deeper, discovered Alexander's the secret philanthropy funding orphanages anonymously, including one where she'd volunteered. But the shock, he'd been supporting her twins from afar, ever since learning of her struggles through Mark's reports. Why, she asked, confronting him in the rain-soaked garden, droplets mingling with tears. Because after Elena died, giving birth to our stillborn child, I couldn't bear more loss. Your girls, and they reminded me of what I lost. Vulnerability poured out, his cold facade cracking. Sacrifice revealed he'd married her not just for atonement, but to protect them. Knowing Cain's threats extended to her, twists intertwined, maintaining interest. Emily's hidden parent resurfaced a phone call, voice trembling. Meet me at a quaint cafe, aroma of coffee grounding her nerves. The woman explained abandonment due to poverty after the business ruin. Alexander's ambition destroyed us. But Twist the father wasn't ruined innocently. He'd embezzled. Alexander covering it to spare the family. Betrayal layers peeled and Emily's anger shifted. Empathy blooming. Suspense heightened with Cain's escalation. A break-in at the mansion. Alarms blaring in the night. Shadows fleeing. Nothing stolen. But a note. The twins are next. Heart pounding. Emily clutched the girls, their sleepy whimpers piercing. Alexander fortified security, his misery turning to fierce protection. I won't let him hurt you, he vowed. Arms around them, a rare embrace, warmth seeping through coldness. Revelations cascaded. Emily uncovered her own secret. The twins' biological father was Cain's son, a fleeting romance. He abandoned us when his father disapproved, she told Alexander. Moonlight illuminating tears, twist Cain's vendetta personal, using Mark to strike. These twists, hidden parents, orchestrated betrayal. Secret sacrifices wove intrigue. Each revelation a thunderclap, reshaping alliances. Dialogue intensified. How many lies? Emily cried. Alexander, enough to protect what matters. Interest sustained, paving to climax. The climax erupted on a fateful evening, emotions cresting like a tidal wave, threatening to drown them all in drama and despair. Storm clouds gathered over the mansion, thunder rumbling ominously, mirroring the turmoil within. Emily, reeling from twists, paced the living room, lightning flashes illuminating her anguished face. The twins played nearby, oblivious, their laughter a poignant contrast to the tension. Alexander entered, rain-soaked from an urgent meeting, his coat dripping puddles on the floor. Cain's made his move, he said, voice grave, handing her a tablet showing hacked Vostek files, personal data exposed, including the twins' location. Panic surged, Emily's breath catching. The girls, she gasped, scooping them up, their small bodies warm against her. Suspense peaked as alarms blared. Suddenly, intruders detected. Alexander's face hardened, misery giving way to resolve. Get to the safe room, he ordered. But chaos ensued. Gunshots echoed outside, glass shattering like fragile hopes. Cain's men had breached, a vendetta boiling over in the frenzy. Lily slipped away, drawn by curiosity to the window. Mommy, she screamed as a masked figure grabbed her, the storm's howl drowning cries. Emily's world narrowed to terror, heart-shattering. No, she wailed, lunging forward. But Alexander pulled her back, his grip iron. I'll get her, he vowed, eyes blazing with uncharacteristic fire. The turning point intensified. Alexander charged into the rain, lightning silhouetting his form, puddles splashing under boots. Gunfire popped, the acrid smell of smoke mingling with wet earth. He tackled the intruder, fists flying in a primal brawl. grunts echoing. Emily watched from the doorway, holding Rose, tears streaming, wind-whipping hair. Alexander, her voice broke, raw with fear. Another assailant cornered them, the room dim with flickering lights. Emily shielded Rose, her body a barrier. Sacrifice instinctive. "Take me instead," she pleaded, voice trembling but fierce. The man hesitated, gun wavering. Then Alexander burst in, bloodied but triumphant, disarming him with a swift move. But the emotional peak, Alexander collapsed, clutching his side, blood seeping through fingers. "I couldn't lose you too," he gasped, misery cracking into vulnerability. Mental breakdown followed. On his knees, rain pooling around, he sobbed, years of grief unleashing. "Elena, the baby. Now this. I'm broken. Emily." I pushed everyone away. His voice shattered, thunder punctuating pain. Emily knelt, hands on his face, rain mingling with tears. "You're not alone," she whispered, emotion thick. The child in danger, Lily rescued but traumatized, clinging amplified stakes. Police arrived, sirens wailing, lights piercing darkness. Kane arrested. But the real climax was internal, Alexander's walls crumbling, Emily's sacrifice forging unbreakable bonds. Emotional language flowed, hearts aching, souls bared in the storm's fury. With the storm's fury spent, dawn broke over the mansion, sunlight piercing clouds like rays of redemption, bathing the world in golden hope. Alexander recovered in the hospital, his wound superficial but the emotional scars deep, prompting growth. Emily stayed by his side, the sterile scent of antiseptic mingling with fresh flowers from well-wishers. The twins visited, their drawings of happy families papering walls. Innocent love a balm. "We love you, Mr. Alex," Lily said, hugging him gently. His eyes softened, the cold billionaire thawing into a man capable of warmth. Character growth unfolded tenderly. Alexander, once miserable and detached, opened up in therapy sessions, voices soft in sunlit rooms. "I hid behind power," he confessed to Emily, hands entwined. She honored for her bravery, media hailing her as the heroine who saved the day, found strength in vulnerability. "We all have struggles," she replied, her kindness now reciprocated. The family reunited stronger. Kane's arrest closed chapters, secrets laid bare, fostering trust. Alexander adopted the twins formally, courtroom air humming with anticipation, their cheers echoing. Poverty's shadow lifted. Emily started a foundation for single mothers, her experiences fueling change. Wealth, a tool for good. Heartwarming moments abounded. Picnics on the beach, waves lapping gently, laughter ringing as they built sandcastles. Alexander played, his joy genuine, misery banished. "I love you," he told Emily under starry skies. Crickets serenading, their kiss sealing true union. The finale brimmed with hope, love, humanity, a family forged from rejection's ashes, promising brighter tomorrows.